For those of you that have been listening to my podcast for a while, you know that I'm really big on creating holistic value and thinking about material value, emotional energy value, and spiritual or connectedness value, and how important it is to keep all of that in balance. And one that keeps jumping out at me when I'm working with folks, interacting with families, is emotional energy. And I think it really comes down to, are you chasing mostly happiness or are you chasing fulfillment? And I see a lot of folks that seem to get what they want. They say they're unhappy, and if I could just have this happen or get this thing, all of a sudden things would be so much better. And then they get the thing and they're happy for about a minute, then they're right back into not being happy. And if emotional energy isn't high, it's really hard to be happy. I ask the question sort of to myself, where does emotional energy really come from? And I think it really does come from internal fulfillment. So when I see folks say, I'm really not happy in my job, if I just had a better place to work, everything would be better. I see them actually get the new job and then they're complaining about that place within 6 months, just like they did the previous place. So they're not happy. They're not fulfilled. Something else is going on and they're completely unaware of it. And I've seen that happen a number of times in the different companies that I've had over the years, where folks come in and they get the job and they did complain a lot about the previous job. And lo and behold, within 6 months, they're doing exactly the same thing. I've seen some say, hey, the family's super cramped in this smaller house. If we just had a bigger place to live in, things would be a lot better. They get the bigger home. They're happy for a minute. And then the same thing. They're not happy for the same reasons. They're unaware of it. They don't even know why. Or it could be a big payday. I know a lot of folks where they've got a business and they want to sell it and they're working really hard. There's all this stress. They're not focusing on the family because they're doing this for the family. And then they get the big payday and they're happy for a minute. And then the same thing, they sink right back into it. Also with relationships, I've seen a few over the years that say, just not happy in this relationship. If I had a better partner, everything would be better. And they get out of the relationship, they get a partner, they're happy for a minute, and then it goes right down again in the same thing. And I think the answer is somewhere in this distinction between fulfillment and happiness. So for me, my own internal most important number is fulfillment. And it's something that is kind of hard to measure, but I can feel whether or not I am more fulfilled over time or less fulfilled. I mean, that's kind of easy for me to assess. And there's a lot of things that I do that cause that to happen, and struggle is a giant part of it. I'm always the most fulfilled when I do something really hard and I come out the other side creating value, and it feels amazing. You get knowledge, you get wisdom, you can use that to help others. It's amazing. And what I love about my journey is, here we are, 63 years old now. And every year, at least for the last, I'd say 30, 40 years, I am accomplishing things that are really hard. I'm not happy all the time. I'm happy a lot of times, but I am more and more fulfilled every year. And that's something that just steadily, sort of climbs for me. And so I think a great hack around this, would be for anybody just to kind of write down what are the things that make you more fulfilled? And what are the things that don't make you more fulfilled? And so for me, for example, anything I do to build and strengthen community is very fulfilling for me. And I took over as CEO for a company called Dinner Table in May of 24, so about 9 months ago as of this recording. The board of directors asked me to come in and to do this, and said, great, we need to drop the previous business model that objectively didn't work, so why don't we start building communities of families to raise kids to create value in the world? And in about 9 months flat now, we have over 32,000 parents in our dinner table family community raising kids to create value in the world. That's why we're doing this. And a place to go for practical family wisdom and to build on it. That has been really, really hard and rewarding work. Lots of struggle to go from where we started to where we're at today, where we have a viable business, but an amazing mission at the same time. As I think about doing the job and back to my personal fulfillment, what's the mission? Is it really making positive, difference in the world? And brand integrity, everything has to be above reproach and moving forward and creating just so much value. And then I think about shareholder return. We need to do all of it. So I've got the material return for the shareholders. I've got the spiritual connectedness return with a mission and everything that we're doing from a leadership, brand integrity standpoint, all of that. I've got the emotional energy piece of it as I'm working with the team and managing. So through these challenges and all the changes that come with resetting a company, that's really, really hard work. And I think a lot of you listening probably have gone through aspects of that. Wildly fulfilling for me, just incredible. So when you think about your journey and how do you keep building on this internal fulfillment, and I also believe the more we do that, the more we're going to be happy and the more we're going to value struggle, where we're intentionally going into hard things where we won't be happy for a period of time, but we're more and more fulfilled and we're learning to really value struggle and advance. And we'll just sort of feel better as we go through this journey this way. So I think a great hack here in terms of being happy a higher percentage of the time, having emotional energy a lot higher, a much higher percentage of the time, and continually raising fulfillment would be write down the things that cause you to be more fulfilled and write down the things that cause you not to be more fulfilled and see if there's any correlation there. And obviously do more of the things that cause fulfillment and less of the things that don't cause fulfillment. And isn't it interesting when you think about community, go back 10 years, I think we probably had 8% of the population, depending on what you look at in terms of surveys, that say they're in a funk, they're kind of depressed, they're down. And then you fast forward today, and I think, here we are at the beginning of 2025, and it's 1 in 3 people are depressed, down. I'm not sure that they need to see anyone as far as professional from a clinical standpoint to really help them. I think a lot probably do. But that's incredible that about a third of the population in the United States is sort of down and in a depressive direction. And if we were just doing more to build and strengthen community, boy, that could do a lot to bring a lot of those folks out. So whatever that is for you, I think building community is something important to all of us. It's probably a hack that could help everybody listening. But work on that. Consider fulfillment maybe as your most important number.